broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
The show is over.
What is up, AfterBuzzers? Welcome to Season 10, Episode 8 of Face Off, Smoke and Mirrors. Yes. I am your host, Alana Jordan. You can find me on Twitter at Alana Jordan and on Instagram at That Alana Jordan Girl. And with me, as always, are my phenomenal co-hosts, Emma Fyffe.
Hello, that's me, Emma Fyffe. You can follow me all over the internet at Emma Fyffe.
And Michelle Cullen.
Hello, I'm Michelle Cullen, and you can find me on Twitter at Michelle_Cullen.
And we're super excited because this week, one of our favorite contestants is joining us. Walter Welsh is here. Woo-hoo.
Yeah.
Yay.
Pleasure to be here, guys.
Yeah.
Pleasure to be here.
Yeah. So this was a pretty regal episode. You guys start off at the Lobo Castle. Mm-hmm. Which everyone kind of has different ideas running through their heads when they see this castle. Rob is like all gung-ho, wanting dragons. Yes. Castles and dragons, that's a thing.
That for me was just an amazing moment, was just Rob's commitment to how much he wanted this to be a dragon challenge. And then as soon as he got to pick, he was like, Dragon Queen, Dragon.
Yes.
So
like Rob Targaryen in the house. All about it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Mel's all excited because Scary Beautiful is her, like, perfect match.
Totally.
You guys are basically told looks can be deceiving, which when you're standing at a castle having no idea what's going to happen, you're like, well, given we don't know what we're looking at. Do you ever find that that's you are just thinking something completely opposite when you walk in one of these rooms or one of these locations? That
absolutely every single time. Every single time we go into it and we're like, wow, maybe it's going to be dragons because we're at a castle. And it's never dragons at a castle. It's always something totally different. And then Pee Wee Herman shows up. You know, it's like total randomness.
Yeah, you're in a graveyard and you're like, this is definitely going to be ghosts. And then they're like, surprise, it's a gardener challenge.
Exactly.
Like, and it's someone's wedding.
Exactly. Typical face-off.
Everywhere. And you're going to be underwater and you're actually making boats.
And they have to do stunts in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, so in terms of we've talked to the contestants a little bit before about sort of the selection process of sort of the random who gets to pick first. Walter, I feel like you pick last a lot.
Yeah. I pick last a lot. And
got the short end of the stick.
I get the short end of the stick throughout my time on Face Off. But
career.
You know, whatever. You got to go with it.
Yeah, exactly. No, I feel like you make the most of it, but I just feel like the random process seems to randomly not be in your favor.
Yeah.
I questioned it a lot throughout the season. How random can this be? I'm last all the time.
Yeah.
Board Game Man is rolling the dice, and it is just all ones for you, man.
He's stalking me apparently with bad rolls.
Yeah.
Maybe it's alphabetical. Double W.
My whole life,
Always,
the W has been a curse until they're like, we're going to go reverse alphabet today.
Yes!
And then you're like, today is my day.
Yeah, because you win either way.
Yeah, exactly.
Whether you go first name or last name, you're good.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's all about it. W for the win.
Exactly.
So this ended up not being a dragon challenge.
No, only for Rob.
Only for Rob.
Just for one.
Who really wanted it the most, so it worked out.
Really did.
Instead, these gorgeous models come out with their full wardrobe on and their little Disney-esque princess mirrors that actually have their character name on it.
Yes.
And you're told, here are these beautiful characters, but actually they're demons that just have the facade of a beautiful look that then transform.
It was sort of like the opposite of The Witch in Into the Woods, where it's like The Witch in Into the Woods starts off as this creepy, scary witch, and then it turns out, nope, actually she's a gorgeous enchantress, and this was just the opposite of that.
I thought like Snow White.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
very.
Yeah.
It was very Snow White-esque.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking Snow White and then Maleficent.
Yeah.
Type.
Yep.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
With a little bit of Belle just thrown in there
Yeah.
with the mirrors.
Which normally you guys are given
there you
kind
go.
of somewhat of a reference at the beginning because they'll say, you know, like Hook or Pirates of the Caribbean. This is a captain. And you go, okay, so it's this kind. This is what
and
you're
it does
looking for.
it gets your mind thinking about those certain things in that genre.
And so this challenge was kind of difficult when they're just like, and go.
And witches, ready, go.
And some of the choices were very, very difficult.
Yeah, I
You know,
agree.
really just one. And that was,
Just the one.
Yeah.
there was only one that walked out that I was like, what the hell are you going to do with that?
Say the same thing.
Walter.
Yeah. Emeralds. It's like, all right.
Like,
Who knows?
cool.
Yeah.
I thought like a Wizard of Oz, like Emerald City thing, but then it's also like you can't
didn't.
really.
I'm going to be completely honest with you, I had no concept for that whatsoever. Like, if yeah.
All of my concepts borderlined on copyright infringement. I feel like it was just like Green with Envy.
Yeah.
That's every Disney movie. All right, next one.
Yeah.
Wicked Witch. Nope, can't do that. Once Upon a Time. Nope, still not doing well. All right, good luck, Walter. That was my process.
Yeah, I started just thinking about like Todd McFarlane and all the
Yeah.
Spawn stuff and
Yeah.
the green stuff that Spawn has.
No, I could definitely see that. And I like that ultimately it's like you chose to actually incorporate emeralds, but not in a way of like she had a giant emerald face kind of thing. Right.
Yeah.
I liked the choice with the shoulders, and I know that the judges didn't like the paint job on it necessarily, but they liked the sculpture and they liked what was going on with that.
And the texture.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah, I had a lot of really cool ideas that I wanted to do. It was just too much to do and too much to paint.
Yeah.
Painting each individual little emerald that I had on there and then not being able to go back and highlight and shadow them so they look like a shiny emerald.
Yeah.
It was really difficult, but I just tried to get as much done as I could, bounce back from here to there, and that's why it was kind of an incomplete paint job. But
I thought it looked really good, though. I mean, considering everyone else has kind of a jumping off point, and you have Emerald Empress, and you're like, okay.
I felt handicapped. Dragon Empress, Emerald Empress.
But it looked great having where it looked like the jewels themselves were growing out of her shoulders and her head and having the accent around the eyes and making sure that that was just an accent instead of being overwhelming.
Right. Oh, thank you,
I felt like it had a very clear direction, but as you say, it just ultimately was too much to do. But the work that you did was really good. So, you know, when this came out versus some of the other makeups, I was like, well, this isn't going to be a top look, but this is obviously safe. Like, the work on this is super solid. It just needs a little more time.
Yeah.
Well, I like that you pointed out, too, that nobody going into last looks had a completed look this time.
Yeah, and it seemed like everybody was we were all kind of like, whoa, you know, drawn back and not prepared going into last looks. So...
At least you didn't feel alone.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's what I meant by saying that. It's like, well, at least I'm not alone here.
No, definitely.
I may have the Emerald Princess, but at least I'm not alone. But I ended up really liking the concept that I came up with, and I actually ended up having a lot of fun with it.
Nice.
Good. I liked it a lot. I
Thank
liked
you.
too that you, when you were talking about it, and you're like, it's very like action figure-esque. Because
Yeah,
we've
it
been
did.
saying
Yeah.
how we want, there's a huge missed opportunity
For
of
face-off action figures.
Like, this should be a thing.
Yeah, creating
People
an
would
action
buy
figure
it.
would be really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like creating a makeup and then having the 3D digital scan.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Creating a little figure like they do at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely.
And then have them at Comic-Con as an exclusive. Marketing team, we're just,
I know, we
look
just
at us.
giving you so
Crushing
many
it
ideas here.
for you.
What was her name? Shannon? We got to get on that.
We're all about it.
Yes.
Face-off action figures.
Yes. Perfect.
Now, your look ended up being safe, which you've been pretty consistently safe
Hi.
at this point. You were top looks, kicking it off, and then, you know,
Safe.
Yeah.
That's kind of awesome. You and Melissa are the only ones who haven't been in the bottom at all.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely honored and thankful that I definitely wasn't a bottom look ever, and I was safe. But at the same time, I came on the show to do my best and to win and to strive for greatness. And
a sentiment that we've seen echoed in a lot of the contestants is that, like, there is this part of you that's almost like, I would rather be a bottom look. Like, I would rather, like, screw up royally because then it was something that was at least memorable in some way or another.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like at the beginning you're like, yeah, I'm safe, I'm doing great. And then after so many weeks of being safe, it's like,
it gets old. It totally gets old.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest things is when you're safe, you get no feedback.
Yes.
So you don't you don't know, like, oh, well, at least I know I can do that next week.
No, it's so true because I feel like Yvonne, she was bottom looks so much in the beginning, and now she's top looks every week. Mm-hmm. But I think some of it is she got a lot of feedback, and she took it and ran with it.
And, just bad, accidental bad things and not working well with a partner in the beginning. Because she's really talented.
Oh, she's great.
Yeah, she really stepped it up and has been consecutively stepping it up.
Yeah.
Now, I did want to talk about some of the other safe looks, too. I want to dive into Yvonne, definitely. But Melissa had the Wiccan of the Woods, which, again, that's something you can that's a jumping off point.
Yeah.
It definitely made me think of, I don't know if you guys ever watched Are You Afraid of the Dark? Of
course. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
The Watcher's Woods episode, which is like the best episode.
That's such a good episode.
Yes, that's all. When they were like Wiccan of the Woods, I was like, oh, Watcher's Woods episode, give her a whistle. But
oh, man.
Yes.
But Melissa ended up going a totally different direction than I thought, where she's an actual vine tree creature and use this tubing and cut it to like make the thorns, and it looked really cool. Yeah. But I also was kind of taken aback when you see even just the silhouette of it and you're like, what is whoa.
I think the judges said something to the effect of like, this was sort of an oddly literal interpretation of like making the character the woods themselves. Mm-hmm. And the work she did on it was great.
Yeah, it was really great.
It looked amazing. The sculpture was beautiful. I mean, she's so solid in that department. And so, like, you look at this and you go, the work on this is excellent, but I don't know that I get it.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
It was. And it looked crazy because when she was sculpting it, I was like, "Wow, that's really good."
Yeah.
And then when she put it all together, it was just so much.
It was just a lot.
So much going on. It's like too much to look at.
Yeah.
But it was really cool.
Got to be a difficult line to kind of walk. Of you want to make sure that you do a lot and you do the most that you can. And Rob's building an entire body, and so you're like, okay, I want to make the most, and then being like, maybe I made too much. And there's really no time to scale it back when you get to that point.
Yeah, absolutely. And we never know, like, well, is it too much? Because sometimes they'll tell us you should have went way more subtle. And then sometimes they're like, you should have went way bigger. And so it's kind of a toss-up. You really don't know whether you should go as hard as you can.
No.
No more whimsical, please.
No more. Putting a kibosh on it
you
please.
You and Jamie.
Love it. I do love that Melissa is talking about how she's like, it can be a little rough and I'll fix it with the paint job, which is like the makeup artist equivalent of, we'll fix it in post.
Yeah.
It totally is.
But it worked for her.
Totally.
It came across.
I just love Melissa. I love her attitude. Yep. And she's cool. You know what I mean?
She's cool. And she comes up with some of the coolest things, like using the rest of the face piece on the hands. She's real quick and just on this Johnny on the spot with cool ideas.
Yeah, she's definitely a very creative problem solver.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love seeing what she comes up with. And this one I really, really liked. And I was kind of with Neville, how he was like, okay, two things. One, I don't like this at all. And two, there are really cool things going on. Where you're like, it is really cool.
I feel like that's every makeup that Neville looks at, where he's like, oh, I hate this, but this is so good.
Oh, man. Everyone.
Every single one.
When he's pleased, you've done a really good job. If he has nothing negative to say, you're like, all right, I did a good job that time.
Because with V, you just put some glitter on and you know that you'll at least get one positive.
Yeah.
That's bitching.
Yeah. She's like, oh, I like how sparkly this is.
Now, Mel was also safe this week. She had the Temptress of the Flame, and it just didn't come across the way that she wanted it to,
No.
I think.
This makeup was extremely confusing to me. I agree with the judges that it didn't look like Flame, what was going on the back of her head. The beauty makeup was excellent. Those lashes, man, I just need those on my face at some point. But I agree, like, the cowl sculpt was very odd. It's like she painted it to look like Flame, and the sculpture was really good. It just wasn't a sculpture that looked like Flame.
Flames is actually like one of the hardest
hard.
things
No,
to
I would-
sculpt.
I
There's
would-
like very few people who have done it, and that was her idea. And then from the get go, I was like, well, that's like super hard
Yeah,
to do. I think she did a good job for the difficulty
Completely
of trying to sculpt flames.
Exactly, because I could see what she was going for.
Yeah.
And the thing she did with the coffee grinds to create the
Yeah.
ash, like that was so super
I loved
effective.
that.
Read so well.
Yeah.
So again, it's like there were some really, really good elements about this makeup, and then
Totally.
there was some stuff that was like, okay, I kind of see what you were going for, but it didn't quite work.
Yeah. And she didn't do too much on the face, and
Yes.
which is something is like sometimes they'll totally brutally like hurt you for that, and then other times they're cool with it.
Yeah, and that's why I think that a lot of the time with makeups that are supposed to be a beauty makeup, people go overboard and do too much on the face because, as you say, sometimes the judges will lay into you for not
Yeah.
having enough done on the face. But I think that she made a good choice, and part of what saved her was having that really solid beauty makeup.
Yeah.
Because, continue.
Oh, I was just going to say, I really liked, too, this episode especially showing how all of you guys work together and how you can just walk over to somebody else's station and kind of get feedback. And how she was talking to Yvonne was like, I don't know what to do with this, and was saying, use the vacuum form pieces with a heat gun. And had never done that before, but still tried it. And so those are my favorite moments. Of seeing you guys do things that you've never done and seeing you help each other do them.
Yeah, and then that's honestly one of my favorite parts about Face Off is that it's not your typical I'm out to get you, I hope you lose reality competition show. We genuinely want the other contestant to do well, and they don't even show as much as happens on the show, but we help each other all the time.
Yeah, and I think that attitude definitely comes across in the show. Like, this is not about the drama of makeup artists having vendettas against one another.
Yeah.
And also it helps that you could have to be in a team with any one of these people at any point.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and that's also a realistic reflection of actually working as part of a makeup crew.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, I like it.
Now, speaking of Yvonne, she had the Corpse Conjurer,
It's very cool.
which,
It was
beyond being alliterative, which is already awesome,
Yeah.
it was just a phenomenal concept. So she kind of lucked out that she was the second to pick.
yes.
So
yeah.
she gets Corpse Conjurer versus Emeralds.
Yep.
It was really
She
cool
had a
though.
lot to work with.
In person, it almost looked marble. I mean, her paint technique, how she was doing it, it was really, really cool.
It read
was
so
insane.
phenomenally.
Yeah.
It's not what I would have thought of with the
Me-
Corpse
me
Conjurer
neither.
at all.
Yeah.
But it came across like a Jack Skellington if it was real life and also gorgeous. Like a Jackie
Yeah.
skeleton.
And it looked like the
Yeah.
eyeballs
Jackie-
were perfectly sitting in a skeleton's.
No, it did.
Eye socket. It was really cool.
It was such a cool makeup. I absolutely loved this look. And it was so funny because this was the second one to come out on stage. I actually think the top two looks were the first that were out on stage.
Yep.
And I remember looking at Rob's and being like, oh, wow, he really pulled it out. That's so good. Like, to me, I was like, that looks like a witch that is also a dragon and just is everything that this challenge is about. And then Yvonne's was right after him, and it was so different. And I was like, huh. And then the more I looked at it, the more I was like, this is genius. I love it.
The more you look at it, the more you want to look
Yeah.
at it. It's very how we keep talking about this
Absolutely.
cinematic quality of like
Yeah.
we want to see that movie.
Yes.
We want to see what that's in.
100%.
I want to know what this witch is going to say. Like, it's just it was really cool, and it was great seeing her talk about how the confidence from the gauntlet and kind of what you were talking about, Emma, seeing her grow
Yeah.
as an artist and really taking her wins and her top looks and kind of putting them in her pocket and having that propel to make even better things.
Yeah.
Yep, and I know she was struggling with the neck for a little bit and asking for insight, and I love what she ended up doing with that. It was just, it just read so well, far away and up close, and it did. It looked like marble.
Yeah.
It was,
Yeah.
it was fascinating.
I think the gauntlet also, it really helped Mel and Yvonne. It was a total boost of confidence, and not only that, but they got these 2 more makeups than,
under their belts.
Than me and Melissa did. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it totally like kind of boosted their confidence and gave them a little bit more experience, and it was actually beneficial to them.
Totally. No, I absolutely agree. I have to say, I feel like this is the first week where I disagree with the judges. I would have given the win to Yvonne.
Yeah.
I understand why they went with Rob. Now, earlier I did say that it was you and Melissa were the only ones who haven't been bottom, but Rob also consistently has been on top. Rob breaking the curve for everybody. Curve breaker has to go and make not only a face piece and a cowl, but also a full back. And he's like, oh, I have to nix the dragon. We'll start from what he was given, was that he has been talking about from the beginning. He really wanted the dragon. He hoped it was a dragon challenge. Then Rob gets picked to be the first one to pick.
Randomly.
Yep, gotta remember.
Board Game Man is rolling him all 6s because he is first to go.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And
everybody wanted the dragon. I mean, they show him saying that, but we all wanted wanted dragons.
Yeah. And he gets Dragon Queen.
Yeah.
Right off the bat.
He knocked it out of the park, though.
No, that's the thing.
So
is
cool.
I absolutely loved his makeup too. I think that for me it was just something about Yvonne's. I feel like what it is that I never would have come up with the makeup that Yvonne came up with, and Rob's was a little more predictable.
Yeah.
I mean, gorgeously executed, just unbelievably great.
I feel like if they had the ability, how they have the immunity, if they had the ability to tie wins, this would have been the one they pull out the tie card.
Yeah.
They're like, all right, you're both the winners because
we
I
can't
think
pick.
the thing that kind of pulled Rob's away is Yvonne's really looked like a Tim Burton-y kind of cartoon.
That's fair.
Like really awesome, but in a totally different genre. Whereas Rob's kind of looked like a makeup you could see on like I, Frankenstein or some crazy dragon-y movie.
Absolutely.
And it also looked like a team of people had worked on it.
Yes.
One
Yes.
person
It totally did
in a
not look
short
like
amount
one
of time.
person.
And
did.
again, the scaling on the hands down to those details.
And it also read to me really well as this is the, haggard, scary appearance of it read to me as the evil queen, like as the crone version of the evil queen from Snow White, but in dragon form. Like it was great. I loved it.
And also seeing him struggle at the beginning, I knew that it was going to be a top look at least, because anytime they're like, look how much you're struggling, this is the worst, and you're like, even what you're saying looks bad, looks pretty dadgum good.
And his interviews were my favorite part of this episode, because I know they record them all later, but he looked like he had just been like crying for hours, because he just was like a little red in the face, like super bright-eyed,
exhausted too.
Yeah.
But that was he was able to go over and ask some other contestants for their feedback and get the idea to round out the features a little bit more, which V did point out could have been a little bit more feminine, and that was really the only thing
he changed it
he
a
was
lot though. It looked like an old man in the beginning, and then he changed it, and it did look a lot more feminine.
It did. And I also, you don't really think about feminine dragons. Like when you see a dragon, you're not like, oh, that's a boy dragon.
No,
it's not. That's not a pretty girl dragon.
My only reference is Shrek.
That's
that's the only girl dragon I've ever
and
heard
even
of.
that one is
That's
just
fair.
because the eyelashes.
Yeah,
It's like,
And she wears
just
lipstick at one
and
point,
eyelash.
and she's purple and pink and orange. She's like a sunset in dragon form.
Yeah.
I watched
All right.
Shrek recently. You're welcome.
there can be feminine dragons. I have been proven wrong.
Actual Shrek or Shrek 4D?
No, just the Shrek.
Shrek 4D.
Shrek.
It's an attraction at Universal
Yes,
Studios.
it is.
I have experienced. The little air blows by your
Yeah.
Yeah.
Waffles. So, this one ended up looking just awesome, and with Michael Westmore coming in and saying that the bottom was just old age makeup and basically being like, switch this up, which I can imagine shake your world a little bit when you've already kind of started into an idea. What is that feeling when you see him come through the door? Is it?
Sometimes I gotta be honest with you, because I love Michael Westmore, and I'm like so honored every time he's next to me and he's giving me his opinion. But sometimes you're just like, man, I hope he doesn't say anything. Just go to the next one.
Well, because I feel like you're coming into it, and obviously this is somebody that you respect so much. So if he comes in and tells you you need to change all of it,
and you know you got to change it because he's gonna be right.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like elation and then fear.
Yeah.
The high and then, oh God.
Yeah.
But it ended up being a really, really good thing. Because
No, it's true.
otherwise, you know,
No, again,
It often
if the dragon
it
queen
often
was
is.
an old man,
Yeah.
that wouldn't be too dragony.
No.
It'd be
No.
quite
Also,
the
shout out
surprise.
to. Oh, I'm sorry. What?
I said that would be quite the surprise.
Yeah, that's a little bit too much of a transformation. You're like, actually, she's an old dude. What happened? Like, well, okay.
Yeah.
I feel like Robert could come up with a story that would make it
Oh,
fair.
I'm sure he could.
But I will say shout out to Isabel too, because she was the model.
she was
this
great.
week. She was the dragon queen.
The models were all great, and they don't show too much of it on the show, but they did this really cool thing where they recorded the models doing a movement
In the mirror.
and the mirror was a TV,
Yeah.
and they would come out and mimic
that movement.
in the Evil
I did
Queen.
notice that in their
was
performance.
so
And,
cool.
and to me, just for the reveal stage, like that added so much. It
Yeah.
was so cool.
I wish
was so
you got to
cool.
see more of it. It was like such a cool experience to be standing on stage and watching them do that. It was really,
That's
really
neat.
cool.
That's
It
so
was.
cool.
I love when they have those added elements too
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
reveal stage, because it was just like this living fantasy. It was
Yeah.
this dream come true on stage.
Yeah, it was really, really cool.
Which, by the way, if you want to get sweet dreams yourself, want to have the absolute best sleep possible, like your own Sleeping Beauty princess, you should get a Casper mattress, because they are the absolute best mattresses that you can purchase. You can be your own Sleeping Beauty. It is true. Time Magazine, 2015, one of the best inventions. Hands down. And because you are an AfterBuzz listener, subscriber, and we love you guys so much, you can actually try these Casper mattresses free for 100 days, free shipping, and you get $50 off just by going, just by
go
going
do
to
that.
Casper.com and using the code AfterBuzz TV. So make your own dreams come true. Casper mattresses.
We don't guarantee singing birds or helpful mice.
No.
That's just can't do that.
Man.
I do wish that could be a guarantee just in our everyday life.
Could you
though.
imagine if someone guaranteed that? You'd be
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
I have to try this.
Like, what is this magical?
No,
And they're cartoon birds.
specifically cartoon
Specifically.
birds, yeah. Yep, I would buy it.
I would.
Yeah, I'd be all about it. Now, I want to talk about Robert's Sea Witch. Specifically, the eel that he created for the Sea Witch. Because he creates some creature to go with his creature
every week.
time.
Yep.
Every week, and my
I forgot its
only
name.
disappointment, is that I
yeah.
don't
It
know
has
the name
it has
of the
his name,
eel.
and he just told me like just an hour ago, and now I forgot.
And he tweeted it, but I didn't look yet because I hadn't watched the episode yet. I started it a little later than when it started, and I was like, I don't want to know that yet.
Yeah.
And then I forgot to look.
I feel like there should be an eel song that we didn't get. I just want like a permanent Periscope that's just like Robert just singing his
About
commentary.
his little creatures.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, Rubber Ducky, Hans,
Yep.
Lance.
Lance.
Lance the land crab.
I wonder if Hans the brainworm would be friends with the eel. Because they're
both sort of
they're similar.
Yeah.
They both resemble objects within the world.
Yeah.
Definitely. Awkward objects.
Yeah, squirmy kind of.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
And I love that he makes the gelatin
Gross.
too. And you're like, that's gonna be like so nasty.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
transparent. He's like, yes.
Yes.
It will be.
This is what I want. Yes.
And I just like that he's like, what I am doing is I'm projecting demons into my makeup. So if
That
I
was
don't
the weirdest.
conquer them, then they will come and get me.
No one knows those are coming either. He just, it's not expected. He just instantly starts talking about summoning demons or something totally random, and everybody's like, what is he talking about?
I love that we get to see, this season is the first time we've had like cuts to the house, but seeing you guys on the patio actually there at the workstation where you're in the midst of the stress and everyone's saying
Still
actual
dirty and
valuable
sweaty,
things.
yeah.
They're like, here's this thing that I'm working with my makeup, and I'm doing foam and I'm running this. Robert's like, I'm more worried about the demons coming out than the actual challenge. I don't know what I'll get, but all these demons I put in my makeups might eat my soul.
No, I'm serious.
Yeah, but I'm serious.
Wow. Just a beautiful
I love
moment in
Anna
television.
just wrapping up all of our thoughts, just the pause, and then, damn it, Robert.
We're always so shocked.
But this,
It's like, well, what's next?
Yep.
it ended up, this makeup was pretty cool. I know they really dug into him about, you're
Not
the class
being-
clown of Face Off and you're not taking it seriously.
Yeah.
But I feel like technically you see that he is definitely taking the work seriously. He's just having a lot of fun
He's
with it.
having the
He is.
most fun.
I was gonna say that because I mean that was really their gripe with this makeup is they're like, why is it a transitional makeup? They didn't even really have anything to say too much in terms of how the actual makeup was done. They were just so annoyed that he didn't do a complete look.
Yeah,
But-
and they really don't like the
half face.
split
No,
in half
no.
makeups. I don't either, but
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I mean, part of what's very challenging about doing face pieces and just special effects makeup in the general face region at all is creating that symmetry.
Yeah.
It shows real skill to create a basically, I mean, the human face itself is not symmetrical unless you're Denzel Washington and you have a perfect face.
That's accurate.
That is scientifically true. But still, I mean, faces are relatively symmetrical, and so being able to replicate that in a makeup shows a real level
what's
of
this
skill.
Denzel Washington fact
Yeah,
that I
he
don't
does.
know about?
Yeah, he has a
What?
perfectly symmetrical face.
He's the
So
only
there's a
person, or what?
psychology. No, there's
No,
a few
there's a
different
few,
people.
but he's the prime
I didn't mean to
example.
interrupt. I've just never
No,
heard that
literally,
before.
in my makeup textbook in college, there was a thing about Denzel Washington has a perfectly symmetrical face. I was like, what?
Yeah, it's psychologically, people are perceived more attractive if they're more symmetrical.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And so they actually have a breakdown. You can find it.
Yeah.
We'll tweet it out to you guys. You can follow the hashtag ABTV Face Off. We'll let you know all about Denzel Washington's face.
Yes.
Got your back.
But yeah, you can actually see where they'll split up the lines and they'll see if you were to fold. There's studies that are actually pretty cool where they'll cut your face in half in a photo and then digitally
Yeah, we did that
do
in
it two different
Yeah,
ways.
we
and
did
you
that in
can
makeup
see
class
what
in
your-
college.
Yeah, what your best side is because you'll have 3 different looks and one is your actual face. One is your left side symmetrical. One
That
is
was
your
actually
right.
the first one of the first exercises we had to do in my makeup class in college was we had to make our face symmetrical.
Yeah.
Because we did that thing with the printout where so you had to make your 2 sides of the face perfectly
I had to do
symmetrical.
that too, and it was super easy for me. I was like, thank you. This is great.
I've seen many a BuzzFeed
It was
article where
my
they do
emerald,
that with celebrities.
Yeah.
And it's creepy.
Yeah.
It's
sometimes.
crazy.
Super
But
weird.
that's why these split makeups just a lot of times don't read well, is because it breaks that symmetry literally in half, where you're looking and you see one side, and V pointed out how Robert was saying he wanted the beauty makeup to still be there, but because it was so covered, even that just seemed like it was designed to look unfinished in some ways.
Yeah. Unless you're Tommy Lee Jones and you're chasing down Batman.
Yeah, exactly.
It shouldn't happen.
We just need to give her a coin.
Yeah.
It'll be
Yeah.
a sea witch.
Could you imagine if that was
coin.
someone save all? Just throw that in
Just
there.
give him a coin.
Just please get him a
like-
coin.
Yep. And then we
my
totally
doubloon.
buy it. Then it's fine.
Exactly.
A
Two-Face.
sea witch doubloon.
Yeah. No, I
Little
understood.
cannon ash on the
I
side.
understood why the judges were annoyed with this. I understood why it was a bottom look, but it was almost more of a bottom look to be a slap on the hand to Robert. I felt.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like.
I feel like this one could have been a safe look easily.
Yeah.
It absolutely could have.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird that it is a slap in the hand because they had been, they had been applauding him for the jokes and
I know.
and everything, and it's like,
Yeah.
well, you can't really do that. You know?
Yeah, and now they changed their minds this
Well,
week.
it was
six, 7
weird.
episodes in, and now you're like, we don't like that. Take it seriously.
Yeah.
But it's weird to me too that they were like, this just isn't the challenge for that. And I'm like, really? This seriously whimsical challenge
This
that is
magical-
a
Yeah,
storybook?
magical witch kind of. Yeah, no.
I was like, this is the perfect challenge for that. Yeah. So I do understand what they were saying, and I do think that it would have read a lot better if it had been a complete transformation. Yeah.
Fishy makeup.
Because, with the fish wing.
Yes.
The fish wing that fish use.
You know, fish have wings.
Swimming.
Fish, yes, fins.
I love that. Which I understand if that was a gill too, and kind of reined it in a little bit and made the face not so off.
Yeah, it was just very broken up.
Yeah.
That's it. The work on it was good. It was just too broken up.
Yeah.
And I was surprised that this was a bottom look, but I can't think of any other one that should have also been in the bottom. So I think the judges kind of went the right route of being like, Robert, come on. Yeah, exactly.
Stop making eels.
And I think
that's the question I was always waiting for them to say is, how much time did you spend on this rubber duck?
Yeah.
How much time did you spend on this eel?
Yeah.
It never happens, but that's the question that it always crosses my mind. It's like, what, you could have been doing a face or something. How much time did you spend on that eel?
I love when we're talking about how a lot of these looks could be their own action figures, that Rob comes with accessories. Like Robert's has accessories. He just has like the
trident
additional
and the eel
pack that you can buy. The treasure chest for the sea witch that has the eels swim out with the trident.
Yep. That was great.
Goodness. I think your comment though brings into kind of sharp relief, like as we're getting further along in the season, it's going to be so much more difficult to
much more difficult.
determine who is going to be the bottom look and what constitutes that.
Yeah, definitely.
Unfortunately though, this week Anna, her look was in the bottom and it ultimately sent her home. She had the Shadow Enchantress that ended up being just a little bit too dark, and it needed to emerge from the shadows a little bit.
It proportionally just didn't work out, and the area around the mouth was
very rough.
A struggle.
Well, I love that.
It was a struggle.
Walter, you pointed out before that teeth pretty much
kiss of death.
Yeah, they send you home, right?
Don't do it. I look back, those makeups, they went home, a lot of them, or just the bottom looks. They got those fake teeth in there.
Yeah.
And what it does is like pushes the makeup totally out, and it just looks weird.
Yeah.
Within the industry, when there is makeups like that, we put in plumpers so that when the live cast is taken, they have that in there. So when you sculpt the makeup, it gets sculpted over it, and it accounts for the push out, so that when they put the teeth in, it looks like a cohesive piece and it looks normal because it was sculpted over that.
Yes.
But you can't do that on face off, so it always just pushes the makeup out, and it looks weird. And I tried to never use those, not one time. I don't like them. They mess with the makeup, and it pushes it to where it bends the prosthetic and pulls your edge.
Yeah, that's why the edges were so bad around the mouth on this makeup, because as you say, it's like the sculpt didn't allow for the extra space that's created when you put the teeth in.
And the pieces that she didn't get a chance to patch too didn't really help.
Yep.
It ended up kind of looking like the cousin of Hades from Hercules.
A little bit. I could see that. Yep.
You know, because it had like the spikes. It was like black and white instead of.
It did kind of look like a Hades' sister or something. Hades' cousin.
Yeah.
Because it ended up being a little bit too Lego box. Because it was around the ears, which V pointed out how it just kind of narrowed too much at the top. Which you could see Anna getting the feedback, just like, she's like, thank you. But really, she's like, I know.
Yeah, she struggled on this episode, and she knew this wasn't her best work.
But I will say, if you're going to go home on a look that you were struggling with, to get to say, as it's going out, it's not as bad as I thought that it was going to be, and it ended up working out better than I had hoped.
And again,
she went out with a really great attitude.
Yeah. And again, and I think, which V pointed out in the judging, like it read okay from a distance.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was just when you got up close, like this would be fine on stage in a giant theater where nobody's sitting that close to the stage, but up close, it definitely had some struggles.
I want that feather collar.
That was
just to have.
It looked great.
No, the costume on that one was amazing.
Oh yeah.
Give me that wardrobe.
Yep.
Yeah, sometimes wardrobe comes out with the coolest stuff.
Yeah.
You're like, man, we lucked out on this one.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, this is going to make my makeup look better.
Oh, yeah.
But sometimes you're like, don't overshadow wardrobe. Like, I've been pointing out for days I've been struggling. Come on. Ready to end with that.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't need people talking about the feather collar when I like spent forever trying to just sculpt a face because I didn't know if it was going to happen.
Right.
Like, focus on the fact that I got work done and it was a small amount of time.
Yeah.
So, which she did, and she rocked it out. Yeah. And she even pointed out as she was going into it, she's like, I haven't even sculpted a face yet, and I'm not even sure if I'm going to have anything to send out. And then ultimately had a pretty solid piece of work.
Yeah.
So we're sad to see you go,
I
Anna,
really liked
but
Anna.
Congratulations on making it this far.
Yay.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, just a couple things before I know we have to wrap up somewhat quickly, but everybody was talking about this episode, from Yvonne to Rob. This was an episode they felt was a perfect fit. If you could pick any kind of theme or concept or idea that you could create a show and make a makeup for it for Face Off, what would it be?
If we could what?
If you could create your own challenge.
Oh, your own challenge.
Your own face-off challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really like the comic book styles, villains.
Yeah.
The comic book villain, I know they already had something similar to that, but something along those lines.
Okay, I really like
evil
that.
Villain, I like reptiles, dragons, stuff like that.
Okay.
I don't know. Something along those lines. I know it's very masculine and villain-esque, but that's kind of more my style. So that's what I would look for and really want to get.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
For me, it would definitely be dragons, or because who doesn't like dragons?
Exactly.
Or like magical alien space princesses.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
That's a lot of pressure.
Not enough magical alien princesses, though.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Not, yeah.
There was the alien beauty pageant, though.
That was a great one. I
Yeah.
loved that one. But I specifically would like alien girls with magical powers.
I like that. So basically Sailor Moon, but with
but like
some creature elements.
Some creature elements. Sailor Moon, but with creature elements.
If Sailor Moon and dinosaurs merged
Oh,
together.
all right.
And they just all carried around a frying pan.
I wrote a fan fiction like that once back in the day. So
That sounds like my dream. I wanna read that while I take a nap on my new Casper mattress.
Plugging away.
Are there any challenges that you've seen in past seasons that you're like, man, I wish that could have been on our season?
There's definitely what's Big Tuna in season 7? That
the,
was
like,
a pretty
Dick Tracy
cool.
villains.
The Dick Tracy,
The Dick Tracy
that
villains
dress
was really cool, and the Big Tuna was like one
American
of the coolest
Gangster.
makeups ever.
yeah.
I really like that one. I can't really think of too many more. The one where they had to create 2 heads on the giants.
Oh right.
That was really cool, and they had to sculpt a separate head and design a separate head. I thought that was really cool, and I would have loved to done something like that.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
So do you have any upcoming projects that you can talk about?
This weekend, Saturday, I'm doing a werewolf demo at the Silver Scream Film Festival in
cool.
Santa Rosa, California.
Nice.
That will be, I think, at 10 o'clock to 3 o'clock in Santa Rosa at the Silver Scream Festival. So I'm working on that, and that's what I'm kind of dealing with right now.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome.
So where can all of the fans find more from you and keep up with you?
You can check me out on Instagram at Waltimus Prime, or you can go to my my Twitter page, just Welsh Creations, or you can come to my Etsy. I sell a lot of stuff on Etsy.
Wow.
It's just Welsh Creations.
Nice.
That's awesome. And where can we find more from you guys?
You can find me on Twitter at Michelle_Cullen.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Emma Fyffe. You can also find me in a bunch of shows here at AFTERBUZZTV.com. And I tweet about all of them. So just follow me on Twitter and you'll know everything I'm doing at most moments of my day. I like Twitter, guys.
And I'm Alana Jordan. You can find me on Twitter at Alana Jordan, ALANAJORDAN, and on Instagram at That Alana Jordan Girl. And while you're on the interwebs, go ahead, subscribe, rate, comment, tweet at us. Use that hashtag ABTVFaceOff. Let us know your thoughts on this episode, and to say hey to our amazing contestants. Like,
Team Walter. Team Walter.
Hashtag Team
Walter.
Hashtag Team Walter.
And next week, join us. Rob will be here hanging out. So, yeah, we'll keep the contestant mojo rolling.
The prodigy.
You get to be before Rob.
Exactly.
For the first time ever. The random draw.
Yeah.
Board Game Man has rolled in your favor.
There we go.
Thank you guys.
Have fun with Rob.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.